I am sitting in my once dreaming of a magical tunnel, and here's the reality. Cucumber plants don't really ever last all season in my experience, but it's so sad to see them go. Luckily, I did plant a second wave. They're not going to be ready, maybe at all, but definitely not till like end of September, probably, if I had to guess. Maybe sooner. But we're coming into mid-August right now. I don't even know if you'll be able to hear me because it's kind of windy. But I've been doing this thing where I keep waiting on it to be perfect, for my hair and makeup to be done, for the weather to be perfect, for the sun outside to be perfect, for just like the right time. And it never is. And it never is. So here I am in my perfectly imperfect lighting, sound, life. One thing that is doing really well though is this, and I'm gonna butcher the name, Rugosa frutillaria, fruta something. I got the seeds on Baker Creek. It's a summer squash, but it's really fun. It's like white with the like warty outside. It's got one on this plant, but I can't show you because I'm saving the seed. So I'm letting them grow as big as they're gonna grow. But down here you can kind of, nope, that's a leaf. Inside there, you can kind of see. Anyway. But I want to save the seed because look how massive this plant is. I've never had a summer squash, for one, last this long, and for two, get this big and beautiful. So I want to save the seeds for that because it's got strong genetics. I picked probably the last full, and it's not even full compared to what I was getting when the plants were at its peak, but I picked probably the last group of cucumbers that this section is going to see, and they are sad looking. They've gotten bitten by bugs. I don't even know if these are edible at this point because a lot of times they get really bitter, but I'm hoping the silver slicers hold out and they're not too bitter because I need to make another round of pickles. But I am saving this one, and I better tell everyone in my family not to pick it because I'm saving the seeds for this because I don't have any more silver slicer seeds, and I know that I can buy them, but I could also let someone else buy that pack of seeds that hasn't had the opportunity to grow their own seeds. And so what little responsibility I have, I'm just trying to do my part, save the seeds, and hope that they didn't cross with anything on their way into that, making that cucumber. I'm sharing with you my toxic traits, okay? I am a self-proclaimed procrastinator because I'm kind of a perfectionist on some things. It's not across the board perfectionist because there are lots of things I slack on. But the things that I am a perfectionist about, I will procrastinate because I need it to be perfect. I need the circumstances to be perfect in order to do it perfectly. And gardening is a real slap in the face on you're never gonna have perfect anything. It's never gonna be the perfect timing. It's never gonna be the perfect weather. You're never gonna have a weed-free area, or at least that's not in my future. It's never gonna be perfect. And so, moral of the story, or what I'm rounding about saying is, I harvested half a row of onions. I had 3 rows. 2 3/4 row. I have yet to sow my fall things. And I am going to procrastinate my way into not having a fall garden very soon. I'm writing the ragged edge, okay? For things that are direct sown. So, you know what I'm going to do today? Instead of just procrastinating and waiting on the perfect time and waiting on the perfect circumstances, I'm gonna rip all these onions out. Are they officially all the way done growing? Probably not. But a lot of them have been, and the tops are starting to fall over, which is how you know they're ready. Let me give you an example. Let's take this guy for instance. Oh my gosh, so many weeds. It's fine. Take this guy, his neck is broken. He's starting to fall over. At this point, he is not going to be able to grow his bulb size anymore because the nutrients and whatever is going to be cut off. So I need to pull. That's the signal that the onion is pretty much done growing. This is as big as it's going to get, and pull it. Another reason that I kind of need to come through here is because while this fabric has been a blessing in the sheer amount that I've been able to grow this season with minimal weed pressure, I mean, there's never zero, but it's definitely better than what doesn't have weed fabric on it. We have had a little bit of rain in the past week or two, and it's really holding the moisture in right up against these bulbs, and so while they're like halfway under the fabric, it's just too wet, I feel like, for them to stay out here. Like normally you could cure your onions outdoors, because normally the months that is time for curing are super dry and hot, and onions, the skins can get tougher. But I would hate for all of these onions to rot. I would cry, because the things that I'm trying to do here is grow enough food for a year. Not everything we eat, I gotta be realistic, but the things that we do eat, I'm trying to grow a year's supply so that I don't have to go to the store. I don't have to go to the store for my staples that I use, you know, every day, day in and day out, because we are an onion loving family. I put onion in everything, literally everything. So, like this, the bottom is already rotted off. So definitely it's time to yank these bad boys out of the ground. Like I said, this wasn't my plan, so I'm not prepared at all. I did not bring anything out here to put them in, but I'm gonna do it anyway, okay? So here's a time lapse of me yanking all of my onions out. Okay, you guys, that was not that hard. It did not take that long, but I'm feeling accomplished. First of all, now while they don't all look this great, more than I've ever grown before look this great. So, for a little backstory, I started these from seed either late January, early February. I probably would say February. And grew them in my little greenhouse, so minimal supplemental heat, just enough that it didn't, like if it was crazy cold at night, I would turn a little space heater on. But they had freezes, not freezes, but they got frosted on and things. It got cold in the greenhouse. This is the first time I've successfully grown onions, you guys. Besides growing from onion sets. I have done that, but even those onions did not look this good. Like, I could bite this like an apple right now. I love onions. But I wish I could tell you what variety these are, because one of my other toxic traits is not labeling anything thinking I'll remember, and I definitely don't. There was at least 2 different varieties of onions in here, and I experimented growing them just singularly, like traditional, you just grow one onion. And then I grew about half a row doing the like Charles Dowding multi-sown onions. And I will tell you, not much of a size difference. None of them were ginormous like this, but lots of them were still pretty big, like in this size range. Of course, growing them, you're gonna have all different size ranges, from small to medium to large. I think the biggest difference and biggest takeaway that I have from this year is something that is not mine to say. I heard somebody else say it somewhere along the lines, but you got to keep your onions weeded, watered, and fed. Now, I didn't feed mine, so I only did the 2, and it still turned out really good. So imagine next year, if I give them a little fertilizer, they could be great. But I made sure that they never fully 100% dried out and that they were always weeded. There were some weeds now because as they got bigger, I started to pull the weeds out and it would pull the onions out. So I just let them go. But while they're young, I definitely keep them weeded. It could rain any moment's notice. The sky is getting really dark. I'm wearing sunglasses just for dramatic effect. I don't think I really need them, but I'm gonna try to get all of this cleaned up before it pours on me and the camera. On that side. I'm gonna help. Okay.
It's best.
I'm back because immediately after I pulled all these onions and put them in this pile, it started to downpour. And now it's cold. So I have a sweatshirt on, I'm in different clothes. Now I've got to somehow pick all these onions up and take them to the house, and they're soaking wet because I need to sow things in this space where they were. But isn't this awesome? Like, this is a lot of food. And meanwhile, you're not gonna live off of onions, but they sure do make life more enjoyable. How I'm going to save all these, because if I just left them like this, they would rot. I hang them upside down, or maybe I'll just show you. I'll just show you. This is how I'm gonna cure my onions this year. Basically, I'm gonna take the exact same approach that I do with my garlic. You can't see it, but it's in there too. I just hang it upside down like this to cure, and I wait on all the green parts to turn brown, and then the papery outside of your onion, the outside layers will dry up and be papery like the kind you get from the store, and that's when you know that it's good to store that way. And what I'm gonna do, because I'm extra, is I will braid all of my onions together like I would my garlic, and then you have these beautiful onion braids dangling down wherever you're gonna put them. For sure, no vampires are gonna be at my house with all of the onion and garlic that I have dangling around in places. But, so this is basically just how I'm gonna store it. And it should store that way a good long while, but if I notice they start to get soft, I will just dice these up and freeze them. Or you can dice them up, dehydrate them for like onion flakes, and then turn into onion powder if you'd like. Because I don't know just how long it's going to take us to go through all of these onions. I'm going to count them at the very end and let you know how many there were. It's not going to be an accurate depiction because I still have some inside, but it's an estimate. Well, my phone died, the sun is at the right angle to just stream through my eyebrows into my brain. My eyes are on fire because these onions are making me cry. But we did it. I didn't count, and I'm not gonna, so you can just guess how many these are. There's still like probably, I don't know, 75-ish inside my house, so add that to this number. But we are anything but onion poor right here. But since my camera died, I think this is where I'm gonna call it. So thank you guys for watching this onion harvesting video. Until next time.